All right, guys, so before we get into the OPEX method and kind of talking about why we're here and what all this means, I just want to take a second and just kind of open up and let you guys into my life over the past year, which has just been an amazing year. I have to start with that. It's been a great year. But I took a step back from coaching education in a big way, and not, I don't want to say drastically, but pretty suddenly. And what I did was I took a step back from, the day-to-day and being on calls with coaches and educating coaches, and took a step back out of that day-to-day and focused more so on the OPEX and the CoachRx side, and kind of just running strategy for the company. Still, CEOing the company, if that's a word, but still running strategy, still meeting with our leadership team, not really intertwined in the day-to-day as much as I was used to in the previous 5 years. 8 years, being with the company, 5 years in the role that I'm in now. So yeah, I took a step back from doing that, and I did that, and I have two awesome business partners in a different company called Proof 3. And what we did was we set out to build a fitness concept. And that fitness concept, we spun it up early this year. So we started working on it late last year, 2024. We spun it up early this year. And gosh, it was unbelievably fun. Met so many awesome people. Really just got my hands dirty again, and just spent a lot of time on the floor coaching people, which was just amazing. Felt like I never stopped doing it. And my appreciation for the coaches that I've been coaching and educating over those years where I was off the floor, I just gained a larger appreciation for coaches and what we do on a day-to-day. And and I don't mean this in a bad way, but the things that we deal with on a day-to-day, the real conversations that we have to have, not just in our perfect little system, like a consultation and then we design and then we do this. No, just like day-to-day in real life and just being on the floor with people. But over that year, guys, like I missed this. I really, really missed educating coaches. And I still get to scratch that itch with Proof 3 because I'm still doing that with our model and what we're building there. But I missed just being in front of coaches week in and week out, day in and day out, and just wrestling with ideas. And quite frankly, a lot of these ideas that we've wrestled with over the years have stretched far beyond fitness. And I think that that's appropriate because that's what I experienced, just being boots on the ground over this time. It's just like most of these conversations lead to fitness or stem from fitness, but they're not fitness conversations, they're life conversations. So it's been an amazing year, but I'm back doing this full time now. I'm back coaching coaches. I'm back educating. I'm back in the day-to-day here with OPEX. And, not only did I miss the job, right, the work, educating coaches, I also miss just connecting with our internal team every single day, day in and day out. And so they're going to have to deal with me because I'm back full time there. So just wanted to open that up before I started talking about this course and where this course stems from, because this course and the reinvigoration of education and what we're doing here at OPEX really did stem from a lot of my experiences in the world, boots on the ground. And I don't know if this is right or wrong, but some of it also stems from just like legacy, right? And what we've built here over the years and what James Fitzgerald started here 25 years ago. And man, that legacy just can't die. We are education at our roots. And, I think I'm the person to step in and reinvigorate this thing with this new course and the way that we're approaching things. And I'll talk about what we're going to be doing and the things that we're going to be talking about in this episode. But I'm not taking credit in terms of like I know things that other people don't. That's not what I'm trying to say. I'm just seeing things really clearly right now. So yeah, that's kind of where I've been over the past year. And I'm a huge believer in, we all have a number of spiritual gifts. And one of mine is education, right? Educating, teaching. I really, really, really enjoy it. So I'm just happy to be back and happy to lead this course and happy to reconnect with coaches around the world again and continue to move this ball forward. Okay, so that's where I've been the past year. We've been so lucky and just we have such a great team, and that is everyone here. So everything here has been going outstanding. From a CoachRx standpoint, from an education standpoint, everything's just been going so good. But now it's time to reinvigorate this thing called education. And I think that I know that we're the ones that are going to move this thing forward in this industry. And so much of my time outside of the day-to-day really made me realize that. And this is nothing against coaches in the world, but we live in our bubble, and I've lived in this bubble for so long, just being around OPEX coaches and wrestling with OPEX coaches and talking about concepts with OPEX coaches. And then when I removed myself from that in the day-to-day and I started having these conversations with, just the general population coaches, I was like, man, yeah, these coaches that we have at OPEX are special. We need to continue to produce those coaches, and we need to continue to connect with the ones that already exist. So, here we are. So I'm going to talk about the OPEX method and what this thing is, why it exists. And I'm not doing this to try to get you to come into the course or anything like that. I'm doing this just as a deeper and longer explanation than a landing page can do, or a quick message or an email can do. So this will be a long form conversation. It's not scripted. So I'm kind of just like wrestling with ideas as I talk about this thing. And I'll try to be as succinct as possible. Okay. So let's get started. So the OPEX method exists because fitness coaches deserve better. And because the world needs professional coaches who can actually change lives for the long game, that can actually teach clients what they know. And for a coach to be able to teach a client what they know, they have to know what they know, right? So, I believe there's a big knowledge gap in the industry right now. And a lot of coaches are more concerned about learning the things that are hot right now than the true principles and how to implement these principles with real people. And more importantly, how to teach real people these principles. So this isn't just about a course. It's about building a system that raises the value of the fitness coach. And we'll talk about that in one of our frameworks today. Okay. And we need to make principle-based fitness the norm, longevity-based fitness the norm. And we need to give every coach the tools to make this a reality in their own practice. All right. The first thing I want to hit in terms of why we created this course is there's a lot of fragmentation when it comes to coaching and coaching education. Education is very siloed, right? Like you have to go get this cert to understand this thing and that cert to understand that thing. Or let me just get even more specific. You have to take this certification or this weekend course to understand program design. You have to take this course to understand how to consult with people, maybe to be someone's life coach. You have to take this course over here to understand how to assess if someone moves well or not, right? Like there's a siloed fragmentation in the coaching education world. So you have certs that teach theory, but you don't have certs that actually wrap a system around this thing. So that's what we're doing. We are unsiloing, I don't know if that's a word, but we are unsiloing the coaching education world, and we're doing it built around a system. Okay, so we'll talk about that more here in a second, but our system is CoachRx, and it's what we built back in 2021. And I feel like we're now in a place where so many great things are coming together. We would not have been able to make the claim that we're going to teach you education and we're going to be able to give you a complete system to implement that education or those principles inside of. We just weren't there yet, right? Like we went through a couple years where we were kind of just figuring this thing out as a brand new software company. Now today, CoachRx is in a place where, man, I will put CoachRx against any coaching platform, any coaching software, and I will take CoachRx. Right. So I'm going to give big ups to not only our entire OPEX team, but our CTO, Casey Jenks. That guy has come in and has just made this app unbelievable. He takes a lot of things out of my brain specifically and makes it make sense in software. So it's not fragmented anymore. We had a fragmented piece of software, and now it's not. It's cohesive. Okay. Software used to be just like a delivery tool, but now we're going to put principles, mentorship, system building, and understanding inside of software. So I think that is going to be a massive game changer. So right now it's fragmented from an education standpoint, coaching education, and it's fragmented from an implementation standpoint. and we're going to shore up both of those things. Okay. So we're going to do that, and we're also going to do that while continuing to build on the coaching community that has been built over the past 25 years. Okay, so you guys will start to see a lot of, not defragmentation in terms of the way that we deliver education, but you also start to see a lot of defragmentation in terms of how our coaches interact, communicate, and all of those things. So it's going to be a really good experiment in trying to defragment those things. And what does that mean for us? It's something that was really important to me specifically was just more touch points. Okay, more touch points that mattered, that made sense, not just to be on a Zoom call with people. So when we redid this, we're like, okay, it's going to be 10 weeks, 8 weeks of principles with me, 2 weeks with marketing with our CMO, Candace Dixon. And every single week, we're going to lecture on one day. On another day, we're going to have a lab. And then on another day, we're going to have office hours. Right? So we're going to have 3 touch points per week over 10 weeks. That's 30 touch points that you're getting from OPEX. Okay. So we wanted to make sure that we weren't lacking the fragmentation of connection and community. Because we've talked about that for so long, right? It's like connection and community is such a big thing. It's a big deal, right? Relationships. So we want to build better relationships with our coaches. We don't just want to teach our coaches how to implement the system inside of CoachRx and just kind of say salute and see you later. So those are some changes that you'll start to see in this education. All right, now this next one kind of builds off that idea of defragmentation, and that is building an actual ecosystem. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to unify education, software, and community into one system. Okay, so we're calling this learning, coaching, refining, and connecting. So the OPEX method teaches principles, right? So we always talk about that concept of truths over trends. So we're going to teach you principles in the OPEX method, okay? And we're going to do that via the vehicle we've always done that, and that's OPEX CCP, our education. CoachRx is going to be where you apply those principles from day one. So remember I talked about lab on day 2. That's going to be all CoachRx based. So coaches are going to leave the entire program. They're going to leave the program with an entire coaching system built around the principles that they're being taught. Okay, so we're teaching the principles via CCP. We are implementing those principles via CoachRx, and then we're refining and from an ongoing standpoint, we're refining in LearnRx. Okay, so we have CCP, we have CoachRx, and we have LearnRx. LearnRx is going to be that continuing education platform that our coaches are going to stay within, and we're going to put a lot more content into LearnRx. We already have a decent amount of content in there, but we're going to start putting some refreshed new content in there as well. So what's the outcome of this is we're building this thing to be an ecosystem. Okay, so the outcome is we want coaches to just be engulfed with the OPEX ecosystem. Okay. We want, but not to just be engulfed with the ecosystem. We want coaches to be engulfed with the ecosystem because we want the OPEX coach to lead the pack. Okay, we want to build a more robust community. And guys, I don't even care if that community is increasing in numbers in a very drastic way. I think it will, but I don't care about that. I'm talking about from a qualitative standpoint, right? So if we have 10,000 coaches around the world, I want more of those 10,000 coaches to be engaged. I don't want 20,000 more unengaged coaches. So we want to really wrap our hands around this concept of having an ecosystem so that we can keep our coaches tight, we can keep them connected, and we can continue to give our coaches value over and over and over, no matter where they are in their own coaching journey. All right, so we hit this before, but now I want to talk about why in the world are we doing this, and this is backed behind our purpose. And if you're a coach that's been around OPEX for a while, you already know this, so forgive me for saying this again, but hey, I think that we all need to be reminded, why are we doing what we're doing? Our purpose at OPEX is to elevate the value of the fitness coach, and this is why we're building this course. Okay, so we're building this course and we're launching this thing because we believe it will go a long way in elevating or raising the value of the fitness coach. Okay, that leads us to our mission. What are we trying to accomplish? Okay, so we want to be the place where coaches learn, coach, refine, and connect. And then that connects us to our vision long term. So we want to live in a world where longevity-based, general population focused, principle-driven fitness is the norm. Principle-driven, truth-driven. That's extremely important to us. Why is that important to us? It's important to us because coaches must understand principles. Coaches must understand truths. Okay, so when the next hotness comes around in the fitness industry, okay, we understand the utility or not of that next hotness, right? So every 5 minutes I'm being hyperbolic, but you guys know what I mean. So every so often, which these days is very often, there's another trend, right? And we can discern, is this trend, does this trend have any utility or not? Okay, if we understand principles, we can understand all of these trends that are popping up. Okay, so and when I talk about these next trends, I'm not saying that they're bad things, but they're just things that are popular right now, right? So this concept of zone 2 training, what have we called that for a long time at OPEX? We've called that easy aerobic work. Okay, when HIIT training had its 5 minutes, it's like, what was the utility of HIIT training? Okay, we called that tough aerobic work. Okay, or interval-based aerobic work, or shorter on the map continuum aerobic work. Okay, when we start talking about, getting outside and getting your sun, or exposing your body to the sun, getting your retinas exposed to the sun, drinking enough water, moving, walking, all those things. OPEX coaches, what does that sound like? James taught this 15 years ago. Those are basic lifestyle guidelines, something that is still in our education today. And don't get me wrong, we love that those things are now the hotness today, not so that we can boast and say like, hey, look at us, we've been talking about that. No, to say like, hey, we've been talking about that. Now do you understand why, right? Those are just principled truths, okay? So when they came around, a lot of OPEX coaches weren't like, oh my gosh, this is mind-blowing. They're like, yes, of course, I like that. Let's dig deeper into that. And you know what the positive thing was, is that clients, their minds were open, their brains were open to being open to those concepts and ideas, because you had your like Hubermans and stuff like that explaining these things, maybe better than we did. Maybe that's why it popped. I don't know. That's beside the case. But we love that stuff. We love that stuff is now in the market, and we love that there's guys like your Andrew Hubermans that are like digging deep in basic lifestyle guidelines and trying to bring his own version of, principle-based truths to the wider world, right? So that's awesome. But we have to understand that coaches are multipliers of health in society. Okay, so going back to why coaches must understand principles. If coaches don't understand principles, they can't teach their clients those principles. If we don't teach our clients those principles, they will never build physical autonomy. If clients never build physical autonomy, these let's call them negative health effects will continue to increase, right? Obesity, right? Cardiovascular disease, lack of movement, lack of eating real food, blah, 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 all of those things, right? So it goes from truths to the coach, to the client, to implementation, right? And then that client into implementation, that's what we call autonomy. Okay, our goal should be to get all of our clients to a place where they don't need us anymore. I know that's scary, but that should be our goal. That's what we call autonomy. Okay, so guys, I appreciate you hanging out with me for the last, I don't even know how long it's been, 30 plus minutes, as I kind of, think about what we're doing and why we're doing it. And thanks again for bearing with me. If you made it this far, that means that you listened to my diatribe at the top of this, where I talked about the last year for me. But I think that that's important to give context. I'm unbelievably fired up. I'm ready to, get this education out to the world. I'm ready to connect with coaches around the world. I'm ready to connect with you. If you're an OPEX coach, please come back, join us for a cohort. It's going to be really fun. I talked a little bit about the structure, but it's 10 weeks, 3 touch points per week. The entire OPEX team is going to be on this thing. We have our assistant instructors. We're now calling them mentors. We used to call them mentors. They're now our assistant instructors. So we have 3 coming right out of the gates: Melissa Guitron, Steve Volke, and Naki Rosa. Excited to have those guys on board. And we are ready to make a dent in this thing, and not only impact the fitness industry, but impact people, right? That's what's really important. Who cares about the industry? Let's get out there and impact people that we're working with. So if you're an OPEX coach, I'd love to see you back. If you're not an OPEX coach, consider joining us. I think that, we always have to open our minds to learn something new. And I haven't met a whole lot of OPEX coaches that have gone through our program and have regretted it. Little bias there, obviously, when I say that, but would love to see you if you're not a part of this thing. If you are interested, in the description, we'll have some information.